Welcome back to another video. I am currently sitting here on September 29th, 2025. The Eagles are 4-0 and all is right with the world, right? I'm so happy. Now, let me explain how we got to this point. The last time I talked to you guys, the Eagles were playing the Los Angeles Rams. In the first half, their offense looked absolutely pathetic, continuing a theme that we saw the first 2 weeks. Jalen Hurts had negative net passing yards at the half. What do they do in the second half? They come out throwing, giving the ball to their best player. What do you know? Letting your quarterback, who's a pretty good quarterback, just get the ball to the receivers in space worked out, right? And you thought, wow, they're going to carry that on to the next game against Tampa Bay. And you were kind of nervous, and by you, I mean me, because Tampa Bay has kind of been Jalen Hurts and the Eagles' kryptonite over these past few years, right? They've lost him. They lost them in the playoffs. They've always had trouble against the blitz. And you're thinking, maybe this time is different. And it turns out the first half was. Jalen Hurts was great. He was getting the ball out quick, on time. He was making plays outside of structure. And then the half happened. One coach made adjustments, and the other coach, or coaches, Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo, no longer had, they went through their first 15 scripted plays. Those were great. And then when they had to adjust, they had absolutely nothing, like they always do. And somehow, some way, and this isn't a criticism of Jalen Hurts completely, and I'll get to that. Jalen Hurts in the second half was 0 for 8 for 0 yards after being 14 of 15 for about 128 yards, something like that in the first half. So how does that happen? To be honest with you, I don't know, because there's no explanation for it. I keep seeing these idiots on Twitter and on YouTube or wherever say, the Eagles have to run this all, and I've said this before, right? People say this, they have to run their offense because their quarterback is limited. First of all, I don't believe that to be true. Second of all, do you understand that Jalen Hurts would have to be the most limited quarterback in the history of the NFL to warrant running the pass game that the Eagles run, specifically in that second half? Do you understand that Tim Tebow could complete a pass if he had a coach that had an IQ over 6? I could go out there and complete a pass if the coach was smart enough to just scheme open a bootleg or a screen or a misdirection, something, a play action, a play. Just something 5 or 10 yards downfield. So yeah, Jalen Hurts, he didn't play a good second half, but the fact that he went 0 for 8, that goes way beyond just the quarterback struggling. That tells me that nobody is in sync on offense. Not the offensive line, not the coaches, not the quarterback, not the receivers, not anybody. That's terrible. And I'm sick of people saying, they're 4-0, not every win's going to be perfect. I don't need perfection. But through 4 games, the Eagles have not had a single game where there wasn't a stretch where they looked completely incompetent. And I get it. They're 4-0. They're reigning Super Bowl champions. They deserve some level of grace. But I said before the season started, the one thing I will not tolerate is the offense looking absolutely pathetic. There is no excuse for it. The defense I can understand. All right, they have a lot of young guys. The offense, 10 of 11 starters are returning. There's zero excuse. They're still running the same vanilla scheme and concept that Nick Sirianni has been running since 2023. Just slightly different variations of it. And I'm sick of it. I can't take it anymore. How are we sitting here 4-0? We should be sitting back, relaxed, showing off that we're 4-0, reigning Super Bowl champs. And instead, A.J. Brown isn't even being schemed open or getting the ball. And he's tweeting out cryptic tweets like an astrology girly in high school. How is this possible? We should be feeling good after being 4-0. So I don't want to hear these people tell me, you're being, you're acting like a boomer, you're criticizing everything just to criticize stuff. If the own players on the team aren't happy, why should I be happy? Why should I be satisfied? Can we stop running a middle school offense? Can the coach realize, he always says post-game, the key is winning the turnover battle. Okay, maybe, but how long are you going to rely on just winning these one-score games in which you get outgained by 200 yards? Just let your quarterback throw the ball. We're now running this offense where there's no creativity. It's the same plays over and over again. We're running draws on third and 11. What are we doing? That's being a fucking coward. I understand if you don't trust Jalen to throw into triple cover, like nobody's asking for that, but these cowards draws, they're pathetic. There is no identity to the offense. At least last year you could at least say, oh well, Saquon was going off. Now their running game's struggling. Now part of the reason it's struggling is because they're idiots and they keep running into bunch formations and they keep running 13 personnel, which involves Grant Calcaterra blocking, and he's one of the worst blocking, probably the worst blocking tight end of all of football. And they keep asking him to block. I have no idea. But I'm sick of hearing about how Jalen Hurts is this limited quarterback. Look, am I going to sit here and say Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback? No. Am I going to sit here and say you want him dropping back 50 times a game like prime Tom Brady? I'm not. But let's stop acting like idiots and acting like we need to design a middle school offense because Jalen Hurts isn't capable of throwing the football. We just saw last week when you dug yourselves a hole because you had an elementary school game plan, he put the team on his back and he won the game. And guess what? He turned the ball over, and guess what? Who cares? They won the game. And it would be great if they started having the mindset that we're just going to bludgeon the other team instead of, well, let's rely on the defense getting a stop with 2 minutes left because we're playing super conservative and we're not letting our quarterback play quarterback. We're not giving our receivers a chance to get the ball in space. It's maddening. And this isn't stuff where it's like, all right, it's X's and O's and maybe we could tweak this. This is just common sense stuff. Why are we in week 4 of the NFL season? We just dealt with this last year with this A.J. Brown shit. Now we're dealing with it again. Now, granted, I think he's handling this terribly. He's acting like Joel Embiid, being a baby, going to Twitter, posting cryptic shit. But I understand his frustration. He's a wide receiver who's at the top of he wants to prove he's at the top of his game. He takes his craft seriously. He doesn't work his ass off to get into physical shape like this just to be a decoy. Just give him the ball. Why is this so hard? I just watched the Rams give Puka Nacua the ball 13 freaking times and we can't get the ball to A.J. Brown? Can you scheme something else up that isn't 5-yard dig routes or comeback routes? Hell, even throw a slant. They barely threw slants. It's just the most predictable shit ever. Their running tendencies, their offensive tendencies, defensive coordinators know what's coming. So now here we are 4-0 and we can't even enjoy it because our wide receivers aren't happy. Our quarterback didn't complete a pass in the second half, even though he might be concussed. He got hit hard in the head and we don't know about that yet. But it's just so draining. We should be happy. And maybe there are fans that are happy, but I'm not one of them because I don't have my head in the clouds. I see what's happening. There's been a lot of comparisons to 2023 when they collapsed. The difference that season was it was the defense that collapsed. I trust Vic Fangio. I don't trust Nick Sirianni. The offense has no clue what it's doing week to week. They should be putting 30 points on the opponent's head week after week with ease. And the funny thing is, the sad thing is, and I've said this, Jalen Hurts has improved this year. His processing is quicker. His pocket presence is better, despite the offensive line, I think, taking a step back. And yet, if you look at his stats, they're very pedestrian. Because these coaches do not set him up for success. And I'm sick of it. So, they played the Broncos on Sunday. It's their worst opponent yet. Is it too much to ask for to just have an easy win? They don't need to score a touchdown on every drive, but can we just go a game and win the game without looking like a complete complete amateurs out there? We should never have a half where we have 0 passing yards, or even close to that. Every game, there's portions of the game where we just look incompetent. That should never be the case. So hopefully Sunday they throw the ball, they win, they get the ball to their best players, so we don't have to deal with them posting cryptic shit on Twitter. But until then, I don't know. It's frustrating. I'll see you guys next time. Give me a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think.